So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and I welcome you all in this news analysis live session. In this session we will be talking about Indian Express newspaper and we'll take few articles which are important for your prelims as well as mains examinations. So for today's agenda we'll have this thing. First we'll start with the front page of the newspaper, and then we'll talk about diplomatic tightrope, Israel and Palestine. When we are talking about situation in Israel now, we had a stand on Palestine earlier, that we supported Palestine's cause. Okay, now since we are having a strategic ties with Israel as well, so what would be our stand? So India is on that tightrope right now. So recently there was one statement, we'll talk about that in this particular article. Then we'll look at giant ozone hole over Antarctica. So there was this issue that ozone layer is depleting, and recently we know that on Arctic region there was this hole which is shrinking now again. So by 2050 something, we had this idea that it will go back to the normal 1980s level. But now there is this news that there is another hole on Antarctica as well, and this hole is larger in size. Okay, this hole comes and goes, but this time it is even more larger in size. We'll talk about this. This has taken from the explained session. Then global hunger index, India rejects. So there has this global hunger index has been launched. So now India is saying that the rank which it gave to India, that is 111 out of 125 countries, India is saying that is because of some error, and second thing is their methodology is not correct. So we are kind of rejecting this index, and we are not believing or relying on these data. Okay, after that we look at the editorials at a glance. In today's newspaper there are not much editorials to talk about, but we'll take one of them and we'll see. Other than that, we'll talk about editorials in our editorial analysis session. Okay, I'll be posting the link in the description. Then after that we'll see some miscellaneous news and then wrap up the session. Okay, so this is our front page, and there is this headline that diplomatic tightrope, Delhi red flags terror and reiterates stand on Palestine. So now Delhi has issued a statement saying that we are against terrorism in all form and manifestation, which was earlier also the stand, but now we have reiterated that we are still hoping that Palestine will get a sovereign nation. Okay, in the time, but right now this Hamas attack we are criticizing. Okay, so we'll talk about this article. And then there was this news article, Supreme Court on termination of pregnancy. Yesterday also we have discussed it. So there is one development, we'll talk about that. After that, retail inflation eases to 5.02. So we have this inflation bracket of 4 plus minus 2. Okay, so RBI have this target that we'll keep the inflation in check. So now we have came into the bracket again with 5.02%. Okay, so these are the important articles from your front page. We'll be discussing that. So let's start with the first article, diplomatic tightrope. Other than that, yesterday we discussed this Operation Ajay, that India has launched an operation following which the person who are stuck in Israel war zone, we will be bringing them back to India. So the first flight would be landing today. So that is one thing. Other than that, now India has said that since terror attacks in any kind of manifestation are not allowed, or we criticize it to the whole, but now India has said that our stand with Palestine is same. We still want that Palestine get a sovereign nation status in the coming times. Other than that, there was one thing, when we are talking about Arab nations, because India has good relations with Arab countries as well. So when we are talking about Arab countries, we have to make sure that we have good relations with them as well. That's why we have taken this statement on Palestine now. Also, when we are talking about Arab nations, there is another divide among them as well, because when earlier we used to talk about Arabs, they are with Palestine, without any doubt. but now there is this Abraham Accord which has been signed by Israel and few Arab countries like Qatar, etc. So because of that Abraham Accord, which is being brokered by USA, some Arab countries are with Israel or at least inclined towards Israel. So there is inherently, you can see there is some divide in Arab countries as well. Okay. Other than that, when we are talking about Iran, the situation is same. We don't know its involvement yet, but let's see what future tells about it. These articles on Israel will be covering on daily basis because they will be in headlines. So we'll be keeping a track on that. Okay. So mostly this is all about this article. Most of the time we have actually we have discussed this article yesterday also. So most of the time what will be there, it mostly things would be repetitive. Okay. So it will be easy for you as well in our coming sessions. You will know things already, so that would take lesser time. Or when we are talking about this Saudi countries, Arab countries, we have some oil deals. 50% of our oil comes from these Arabian countries, so that's why our relations with these countries supposed to be good. So we have taken this Palestinian stand. Okay. So there are some 90 lakh Indians in West Asian countries, so we have to take care of them as well. Moving ahead, we'll start with another article. So this article, recently what happened is Prime Minister is in Uttarakhand, and while his Uttarakhand visit, he has visited many places and he has talked about this border roads, okay, or you can say border infrastructure. It is important for our strategic purpose as well. He has said that there are some 4,200 kilometers of road, 250 bridges and 22 tunnels has been built in this area. You can use this fact in your mains answer writing. Other than that, there is this particular mention of Parvati Kund. Okay, there is tendency of these examinations that they will ask about such kunds or some lakes, etc. if they are in news. So this Parvati Kund is in Uttarakhand. Okay. Other than that, this Adi Kailash, okay, this is also in Uttarakhand. So all these locations were in this article. Other than that, Prime Minister has talk about this particular scheme, vocal for local. So now it's your job to look for this scheme. What is this scheme? What is the aim and objective of it? That's all. Okay. Moving ahead, we will be talking about this Modi's visit to Gunji. There is this area Gunji, which is in Uttarakhand, but it is near Kalapani. Okay. So Nepal kind of got it because of this, because Prime Minister visited this particular area and Nepal is saying that this area belongs to their territory. Okay. In last few years, Nepal has been contesting that these three areas Kalapani, Lipu Lake and Limpiadhura. Okay, these three areas basically contested by Nepal and India. These area actually belongs to India, but now there is this situation because borders of Nepal were actually seen as by the demarcation of Kali River. This was the river which divided India and Nepal border. Okay, so there was no land border that time. Because of this river, Britishers said that this river would be the boundary. Now the problem is river tends to shift their course. Okay, because of which this Kali River also changed their course, and that led to this conflict. Okay, now the course of Kali River has changed, and because of which Nepal is saying that since Kali River is the boundary and now these territories are Nepal's. So that is not the case, but anyway they are doing it because there was this Chinese influence over there. So that is why. Other than that, there is one more area. So here you can see there is one more area in Bihar named Susta. This area is also been contested by Nepal from long time. Okay, so there are three areas: Lipu Lake, Kalapani, Limpiadhura, along with the Susta in Bihar. Okay, now when we have seen that this particular Kalapani, Lipu Lake and that Limpiadhura is because of the shift in the Kali River's course. Okay, but when we are talking about this particular place named Susta in Bihar, it is because of the shift in Gandak scores. Okay, so you must know that which river actually is causing this problem. One is Kali river and second is this Gandak river. Okay, so I think that's all for this article. This was the background I would wanted to tell you, so I put this picture here. Okay, so now this global hunger report, as I told you that this report has been in public domain now, and because of this report there is this issue that we are given rank 111 out of 125. Okay, now our contention is that this is not true because they have put Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, etc. above us. Okay, they are saying that Pakistan is performing better than us on hunger criteria. Okay, which is I don't know which is how they decided that, but now the thing is, India is saying that the methodology you are using, that is not right. Okay, the indicators you are using are not the real representation of this particular hunger only. Okay, so we'll see what they are using. Other than that, a score of India is 28.7. okay, you can remember it, but it's not necessary. And the rank of India in 2022, or you can say in the last 2022, or you can say in the last index, was 107. Okay, so according to them we have performed even worse because of on their indicators. Okay, but right now let's see the indicators. So now global hunger index, or GHI, is a tool that measures and tracks the hunger and malnutrition worldwide. Okay, they assesses these on the factors like undernutrition, child wasting, stunting, and child mortality. Okay, these are the factors they are looking for to decide that if there is hunger or not. Now the thing is, these things can happen because of various reasons, not only because of the hunger. Okay, this undernourishment or child wasting, stunting, child mortality can have other reasons as well, like diseases, etc. Or these things can be because of undernutrition or nourishment, etc. can be because of the ignorance as well. So you are not taking the whole picture in the count, and you are just using these indicators which are not representative of the whole situation. Okay, so that is the one thing. Other than that, on the factor or indicator of child wasting, they have said that India has performed very poorly. Okay, on the other hand, India is saying that when we are talking about our Poshan tracker, we have one tracker called Poshan to look at the wasting, etc. We on that Poshan tracker we are performing better. Okay, so as per our data we are performing better, but this report is saying that we are not. That's why India has rejected this particular report. So you don't have to go into details of it, or you just have to remember the rank and the factors which it take into account to reach the index. Okay, so that's all. You can remember the rank of India, that is 111 out of 125 countries. Okay, so next is giant ozone hole found over Antarctica, reasons to worry or not. Okay, so now there is this hole which is around 26 million kilometer square. Okay, that is almost twice the size of Brazil. Okay, so that's a huge hole actually. So that's why should we be concerned about it or not? This has been kind of observed by this Copernicus Sentinel 5P satellite of European Space Energy. So we'll talk about what is ozone layer and why this hole is being happening there. So here in this picture you can see this particular area which is visible, where you can see the earth, that is the ozone hole. Okay, so let's see what is ozone layer. So when we talk about atmosphere of the earth, there are different layers. Okay, it starts with, this is your earth, and after that troposphere, tropopause. Tropopause is basically the line dividing the stratosphere and the troposphere. Okay, after that there is mesosphere, and in the stratosphere itself there is ozone layer. Okay, so we can say that ozone layer is somewhere around 20 to 50 kilometer from earth. Okay, and then there is mesosphere, ionosphere. So there are 1, 2, 3 and 4 spheres around the earth. They are layers of the atmosphere. So this ozone layer here, it is the ozone layer which is important for us. This is ozone layer which is important for us because it protects us from the ultraviolet rays which comes from sun. Okay, so these ultraviolet rays can be detrimental for your skin, etc. It can cause cancer. So for life to go normally on earth, it is important that these ultraviolet rays are stopped there, then and there. So that is why the role of this ozone layer is kind of important, because it absorbs them. Okay, so now this is the issue, that there is a hole in the ozone layer. So should we be concerned about it or not? Okay, so earlier also there was this hole. When we have talked about in 1980s, we have for the first time expected that there is another hole. Okay, and that is been expanding. That hole is because of your chlorofluorocarbons, or these entities which are ozone depleting in nature. Okay, so this hole was there and it was expanding, and then we took some initiative, like we have stopped the use of these chlorofluorocarbons which are used in your refrigerant, AC, etc. We have find some alternative hydrofluorocarbons, etc. They are also causing depletion, but at least lesser than that. Now because of that, we have expected that that hole would be shrunk by 2040s, and we have thought that it will go back to the 1980s standards. Okay, but now since we have seen this another hole on the Antarctica, now there are contentions that we will not be reaching this, and this deadline would be shifted to 2066. Okay, so this ozone layer would be repaired by 2066, considering the current trends in the ozone. Now when we are talking about this particular latest hole, this is kind of unique because it is because of the meteorological phenomena. Okay, so basically what happens, that because of the earth rotations, we know that there are winds. Okay, when earth rotates, winds start to flow in some directions, and because of that, these winds kind of make a barrier. Okay, and they cannot spread over to the other areas. Okay, because of the rotation, the wind speed is more, and then these winds are stuck here only, and they cannot disperse themselves outside. Because of that, there is a condition, this depletion happen here. Okay, this is a climatic phenomena here. This wind creates a mini climate, creating a shield over Antarctic, preventing it from mixing the surrounding air. When the winds die, the holes come back to their normal size. So now what happens is, earlier when there is no wind, there was ozone. Okay, because of the wind, this because of the rotation and the wind, this hole start to expand. Okay, and they create a barrier. Because of the rotation, they do not allow the wind to disperse in the surrounding area, because of which there is a shield. Okay, that shield, when for whatever time that shield is there, this hole will expand, and then when the rotation, or you can say this wind speed is lower, this shield comes down, and then this hole, the size of the hole start to reduce. Okay, so this particular latest hole of ozone keeps changing its size with time, and when we are talking about it in the month of September to November, it's the maximum. Okay, the size of the ozone hole is maximum, so that's why it is in news. So it is not of our concern, because it's the weather phenomena, it will happen anyway. Our concern is that because of the climate change and the global warming, etc., the size of this hole has increased a bit. Okay, it is larger than ever, which we have never seen it in the previous years. Okay, so that is the problem, that because of the climate change and the global warming, the size of this hole is also expanding permanently. So that is cause of concern. Okay, I hope this is clear. I have told you that there is this layers, 4 layers of atmosphere. You have to remember that, and you have to, this is your static part. You can go check your notes, etc. Other than that, all you have to remember is that there was earlier a hole in 1980s which was discovered, and then now latest this is discovered. So that was on Arctic, now it is on Antarctic. Okay, So that's all for this article. Other than that, you can remember this deadline, that we will be repairing this ozone layer by 2066 at the current pace. Okay. So next article would be your editorial. There were few editorials. One was on Israel, which will come, and other are not important for you right now. So we'll discuss this editorial, and then one editorial we'll be discussing in the editorial analysis session. So now jobs still. So few days back there was this periodic labor force survey, okay, which came in public domain. According to this survey, we can see that there is a kind of, you can say, increase in the participation, labor force participation. And when we are talking about females, there is also this increase. We have seen the increasing trends. When we are talking about persons, then we have also seen increasing trends. So labor force participation is increasing. Other than that, when we are talking about unemployment rates, that are going down. So that is a good trend or good sign for our economy. Now what is the problem? So here you can see that earlier it was in April June it was 7.1%. now in April June 2023 it is 5.9%, and when we are taking overall picture, it was 7.6 and now it is 6.6. so there is a decrease, or you can improvement of 1%. Okay, so now what is the problem? Since people are going into the job, unemployment is reducing. So what is the problem? Now the problem is there are jobs, okay, but it is still the pace it is at which it is increasing, that is slow. Second thing is the quality of the jobs. The kind of jobs we are providing, it is not qualitative, or they are not providing the the remuneratives or the financial remuneratives as per the job, okay, or as per the qualification of the person. Okay, so that is one of the problem. Labor force participation is up, unemployment is down, but the question over the quality of employment is persist. In this particular article there are datas. You don't have to remember all of these. Only you can remember is that the rate of unemployment right now is 6.6%. Female participation in the labor force is 23.2%, and male participation is 73.5%. That's all you have to remember. Other than that, these data are only trends, which have already I told you. Economy is unable to generate sufficient productive and remunerative forms of employment to absorb the millions entering in the labor force each year. Inadequate job creation was and still remains the biggest challenge confronting the policymakers. So as I told you that the problem is jobs are increasing but not at the pace they should. Second thing is the quality, the financial remuneration for the qualification of the person, they are less. So there are no qualitative jobs and the job growth is little bit slower. Okay, so that's all about this particular article. Okay, so moving ahead, the world section, there was nothing much to discuss in that. This is the same Israel-Palestine issue. Okay, other than that, there are some 2.3 million in Gaza Strip. The population is around 23 lakhs something. That is not important for you. And then I think that's it. There is this one thing about Sri Lanka. Okay, Sri Lanka says that it has a deal on China's debt. Okay, so we know that the economic condition of Sri Lanka was not good recently. Even Sri Lankan president has come to India. They have talked about it. We have talked about some connectivity projects, etc., and then investments also, line of credits also. And now when we are talking about this particular thing, Sri Lanka has a debt of nearly 43 billion US dollars. Okay, 43 or 46 billion, I guess 46 billion. So 46 billion US dollar external debt, out of which nearly 52% is from China. Okay, so now we can see that why Sri Lanka is on that debt burden, because China has this tendency to give debt and then to take some kind of deals out of it. Like they have taken Hambantota port for 99 years of lease. Okay, so now that they have understood that we have this debt problem and economy is in crisis, so China wants to increase its influence again, because they are thinking about it. Because of the big pockets of China, they are thinking that China is imposing this debt on us and economy is not surviving well. So now China is offering that they will be, they will cover, this pact will cover 4.2 billion from their export import bank. Okay, so they concluded a primary deal with the China to restructuring of its debt. So whatever debt they have, out of which nearly 4.2 billion would be restructured. Okay, so again, China is trying to take over on the Sri Lanka. So that is one cause of concern for India again. So there is nothing much in this article. So that's it. Okay. After that, we have talked about this thing that there was this pregnancy related issue on the in the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court said that we cannot kill the fetus, okay, because it is showing some sign of viability. So they have told the advocates of the woman that you can make her understand that she can bear the child, she can deliver it and then put it for adoption. Okay. Though they are saying that it is totally her choice because it is autonomy of her body. Okay, but they are saying that either we permit the doctors to stop the hurt. Okay, because fetus is in viable condition. So if we take it out now, there are chances it will survive, and we have to put it in the intensive care, and there are chances that it will have some abnormalities or disorders. Okay, so that is not good. And otherwise we can have this thing that we can put and hold on the heartbeat, or we can stop the heartbeat by some IVs, etc. But now woman is saying that she doesn't want that too. Okay, and she doesn't want to deliver the baby. So now court is offering that you should talk it out, and if you can wait for another 2 months and then deliver the baby, you can put it for the adoption. Again, this is not yet the final judgment, but we'll see. We are discussing this because it is an ethical issue. Okay, they will not ask you in the exam, but you have to know that the abortion, etc., are part of your woman's rights. Okay, so what are the trends? We have to have a check on that. So this was the law. I have told you about it. If you want to go through it, you can take a screenshot, etc. Or otherwise, then I have told you that there is 20 weeks you can go for abortion with the consent of doctor. Otherwise, there are 20. If you are going for 24 weeks, there should be a reason, like there is a threat to the health of the mother or the infant, etc. Or there should be a consent of 2 doctors here. Okay, beyond 24 weeks, you have to go to the court for the approval. Okay, that's the ground for your abortions. So that's it. Again, then retail inflation is to 5.02%. As I told you that we have this target, RBI has this target 4% plus minus 2%. Okay, so bracket would be your 2% to 6%. Okay, so we have seen that recently there was a lot of inflation going on, and there was concerns about vegetable prices, etc. That inflation was because of the vegetable prices. Okay, now that these vegetable prices are lower, back to normal, that is the reason we have seen this trend that now the retail inflation is 5.02%. Retail inflation we measure through CPI. Okay, there are 2 ways to measure inflation. One is CPI, one is WPI. This is at the producers level or the productions level, and this is at the retail level. So you have to go and check which institution kind of give this CPI and WPI. Okay, that is your homework. Other than that, while the retail inflation is below the RBI's upper limit of 6%, after a gap of 2 months, headline inflation remains higher than its stated monetary policy target of 4%. Okay, headline inflation is something which includes everything in the basket. When we are talking about CPI, there is this particular basket wherein few articles are added and their inflation is checked, and that will be representative of the all market. Okay, we'll see if the values of these market or the prices of these particular things in the basket is increasing, we'll say inflation is increasing. Otherwise, we'll say it is decreasing the or whatever the trends are. So these basket will give you a headline inflation because it will have everything. Okay, but when we are talking about another kind of inflation, that is core inflation, so what we will do is out of this headline inflation, we will remove the volatiles. headline inflation minus the volatiles. Volatiles are your food, fuel, etc. The things whose prices keep changing, abruptly because of some incidents, etc. So the core inflation will be headline inflation minus the volatile articles. So we, out of this basket, we'll take out those volatile items, then it will give the core inflation. Okay. So right now we are talking about retail inflation, which has eased to 5.02%. Okay, because of the decrease in the vegetable price, etc. So that would be all for this article. You don't have to remember these or the other data. All you have to remember is what is the trend of inflation. Okay. Other than that, you have to remember that there is the bracket which has been given by the RBI's monetary policy, that we have to keep check on inflation, and it should be within the bracket of 4 plus minus 2%. Okay. Moving ahead, report on Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin points to the bribes in the Bihar, cuts in the Bengal, and extortion in the MP. So yesterday also there was this news about Manrega in West Bengal. There was some issues with the Manrega in West Bengal. Now there is issue with Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin. Okay, so there is this national level monitoring is done by some institution, and now what happens is this monitoring can be done for specific or major scheme. Okay, some major schemes, or special monitoring for individual schemes, or those on which the complaint has been filed. Okay, so now they have monitored these schemes. Okay, and they have come up with the logic that there are few disruptions in the scheme because of some corruption and the bribe taking in the areas of Bihar, Bengal, and Rajasthan also. Okay, so these can be an issue. You have to find the solution for that. Okay, they can ask you the loopholes in the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, or they can ask you the issues in the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. So you have to take these things. What happens is, when the government gives some kind of money and panchayats are to allot these things, so what panchayat or panchayat secretaries are doing, that they are in between taking the money out of it, and they are forcing the end user to give that money. Okay, or the some part of the money. So because of which the aim and objective of the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is been derailed. So that's why this news article was in news. Okay. PM Modi to inaugurate Rapidex in Ghaziabad. So it is India's first rapid rail line. It is to be launched in Ghaziabad. So Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi is supposed to launch this particular project. Okay, so it will kind of lessen the travel time in Delhi, Ghaziabad, Meerut. Okay, there will be this corridor, Delhi, Ghaziabad, Meerut corridor. Okay, so I think that's all for today's session. We'll see you in the next episode. Till then, have a good day. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m.